Alright, so we're checking out the ToolkitRC M7ac charger in this video. So this is what it looks like. I'll go over this really quickly. It's not going to be a very long video because this is a charger that is basically, they've combined some of the features from a lot of their previous releases in sort of different ways, and I'll show you some of the other chargers that I reviewed in the past and show you what showed up in this one. So I'll refer you to those videos if you want to see a demo of certain features, because I've already done that in another video. But what you get in the box here is you get an AC cord here with this plug. This was a US plug here. On the box here, it shows you the different plug types that are available: EU, US, UK, and AU. Because the AC that's denoted in the name has a built-in AC inverter in the charger, where some of the other chargers that don't have that denotion in the name, but they're DC only. So you get a cable, you get a USB cable here. This is for firmware updates. You get a screen protector, and you get a quick start manual. The full manual, which is what you're going to need if you want to know how all the features work, there'll be linked to the product page, and at the bottom of the product page will be the link to the full manual, which is a PDF file, plus the additional files that you're going to need for the sounds and the logo for the screen, for power-up screen. I'll explain that in a second, but quickly looking at the box, a lot of specs here right on the box here. DC up to 300 watts, AC up to 100 watts. This has the voice functionality that I think I was introduced in the M9, which is this charger here. You can see the voice functionality. I did a video on that one. Again, link those down in the video description. AC plus DC in this one. And this one has XT60 plus XT30 connectors. And DC 300 watts up to 15 amps max. AC 100 watts 1 to 6S. Again, some more features here. 2.4-inch IPS display. Quick look at the parameters. Also is going to be in the manual and also in the quick start guide. Of course, it does all of your standard type battery types here: LiPo, high volt, LiFePO, lithium ion, nickel metal hydride, etc., up to a balance lead of 6S. This does the discharge charging as well, but you can see it's limited to 15 watts there, and also does the recycle function as well. Alright, so taking a quick look around the charger, there's your 2.4-inch LCD screen. You got your scroll wheel here, selector, back button, USB-A output here, 5 volts at 2.1 amps. You have these pinouts here for testing servos and such, and also receivers. It does input and output there. And I've demonstrated this in the M9 video here. You can see it's got that function right there as well. So if you want to see a demo how that works, I've done that in that video. 6S in terms of your balance lead. You have an input or output here of either an XT60 or XT30. So it got this little door that slides back and forth through different battery types. Nothing on this side. Got a micro SD card slot here. This is for your voice files and your startup logo. I'll show you that here in a second. On my M9, it came with a micro SD card. I'm not sure if that was provided by ToolkitRC or not. This one did not come with that, so I actually put in my own logo and I downloaded the sound files from the product page, so you can do that. You got a little fan here for exhaust, for cooling. In the back here, another fan. You got your input here for DC, XT60, 7 to 28 volts is your voltage range. Here's your AC input here, 100 to 240 volts, and you got your on-off switch. And on the bottom here you have a little like stand here, so if you want to stand the charger up at a little bit of an angle, you can do that versus having it flat. So as I mentioned, I've reviewed lots of ToolkitRC chargers before. This is the M6D dual channel up to 6S on the balance lead here. This is actually what I use on pretty much on a daily basis, but you can see this one has a higher wattage rating up to 500 watts on the charger, and this is only DC, no AC here on the input. And then same with the M9. This is also, I believe, only DC. but now this one goes up to 600 watts. So as time goes on, they introduce new models. They sometimes tweak the settings or the specifications a little bit and add some features. Like this one has USB Type-C charging output, whereas I think none of the other ones do. And this one has the voice file, or the voice files, as I mentioned before. And then this M7ac is now utilizing that naming there with the M4ac here. This does AC charging only, no DC, and only up to a 4S LiPo on this type of charger. So they're sort of combining different features as the new models come out. So there's something to be noted. I'll put a playlist to all the battery chargers that I've reviewed. Of course, tons of the ToolkitRC chargers I've tested. So if you don't like the features in this one, there's probably another one that maybe has a little bit more power, for example, or maybe you don't need the DC, you only need the AC, and maybe you want something a little bit cheaper. So they come in different prices and different sort of options available to you. So I think that if you don't like this one, there's probably another one that you're going to like. So check out the other chargers if there's features that maybe you don't need in this one, or maybe you need something that's a little bit more powerful. Then there's probably something else out there that will qualify for you. All right, I'm going to and power this up via AC first. So go ahead and plug in here through the cord and then turn it on.
Welcome to ToolkitRC.
So you can see my logo there. I actually created that logo. It's a 320 by 240 BMP file. Pretty easy to do. Put that in the folder. When you download the sound files, there's going to be another folder in there called logo. And then in there is basically like a default logo picture called logo.bmp. You can just replace that with your own, and you'll get your own startup logo here when you turn it on. But the basic functions of the charger, they work exactly the same as on all the previous models. So you get your basic scroll wheel here, it goes through your settings. You can long press the scroll wheel to go into the setup here. And you can hear the voice. I'm not sure if you can hear the voice files or not. I can hear it, but the microphone's pointed at me and not at the charger. So,
Security settings.
So as you go through each of the menu items, it'll read each of these off.
Personalization.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the voice actually off, so it's not going to be speaking to me while I'm trying to speak to you. But I have gone through all of these different settings in the M9 video, so I'm just going to show you here really quickly things you can change. These are the different settings in the charger you can change. So I'm not going to cover that in this video, but you can go check out the M9. It's exactly the same. So show you how to do a quick charge here. This is a 4S LiPo. Just plug in your XT60 first, and then you're going to plug in your balance lead. The balance lead is going to be to the far left here. And like that for 4S, and you can see your readout here of the different voltages on the balance lead. So you basically short press the scroll wheel, and then you can select your battery type. Cells here is on auto, mode charge, end voltage, and charge current. So this is a 1300 4S. So I'll go ahead and change that. Just click this, and then you can adjust your cell voltage here. I'm going to jump that up to 2.6, which is 2C, and it starts. Hit OK, and it'll start charging. I'll show you the watts here. And so obviously at whatever this was, 16 volts at 2.6 amps, it's not going to be up to the maximum. I think that's like what, 100 watts AC. So it's only topping out here for one battery at about 30, about 40 watts or so. But I'll show you a test here of the AC and the DC showing the maximum wattage output. It does reach the 300 and the 100 watts. If you scroll the wheel to the right here, you can see the different individual cell voltages here, and it's showing how it's balancing, showing the number of milliamp hours going in, the charge time here, this is the input voltage there, and also the watt hours being put into the battery. If you scroll one more over, you get your internal resistance on the cells. This is a good way to see how much wear and tear is on your LiPo. The more internal resistance there are, the higher these numbers, the worse the performance of the battery is going to be. And just go ahead and stop this, click this again. You can adjust the current if you want. So if you want to adjust this up, let's say to 3.2 amps, and hit back. Now you can see the jump in the watts there as I increase the current. We'll go ahead and stop this. And I do want to show you something that I noticed about this charger that I think they should change for the next version or iteration. So while they have this nice XT60 plug available, I think they should switch these two plug positions. The XT30 needs to be closer to the balance lead, because on some smaller batteries, which typically the XT30s have smaller leads or shorter leads, this does not reach. I'll show you here. So you plug this in, and you try and go over here. It barely reaches. You can see that this is not safe to do. So if you're in the situation here, I actually tried this, and in the middle of the charging, it actually faulted out because the balance lead popped out. So this, if the XT30 were here and XT60 were over here, if they swap these, then that would not be a problem. So I think that was just a oversight on their part in terms of where the plug should be based on the likelihood of the lead length on the type of batteries that you're going to be using. So while it is nice that that's there, it's only going to be useful for XT30 batteries that have longer leads where the balance lead or the balance plug and the XT30 can both be plugged in safely. So just be aware of that. Now to get to these testing settings here for this plug over here, you're going to long press the back button. And then here you can do things like measure your resistance, measure a signal. You can also do a signal output, and you're actually change this to a power supply over here. So if you want to output, a certain voltage at a certain current, you can do that here. I've actually demonstrated all this as well in the M9 videos, so I will link you to that one. Also, you can just just read the manual. It's all in there in terms of the way it operates, and they haven't changed anything fundamentally from the other chargers that they've released previously. So if you look at some of those other videos, you'll see how everything works. It's pretty much the same way. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Links down in the video description to everything I talked about in the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.